So have you ever had a situation where you have some long-term goals, you know they're worth realizing, they're going to make a big difference to your life, but for some reason you're just not quite getting it together to stay focused in the realization of these goals? Well, that's a very human thing. It's very understandable. And this is one of the reasons why we want to understand ourselves and how our motivation systems work, so as we are able to stay focused on what we want to create. Now, I want to share with you a clip here from the first live webinar from the Nexus. Okay, there are 3 a month. This one was on intentionality, motivation, and realizing what you want in the world. So this is a big thing. I want to share with you this particular clip, and it is on your unconscious story of self and how that fits with your goals, and how the coming together of these two things creates motivation and creates a compelling path that you want to stay on. So it's a little bit of a clip from a much, much larger session, so there's some context pieces missing, but hopefully within it there'll be some ideas that spark your imagination and open up some possibility for you. So let's check this out, and I'll see you again on the other side.
Is the story of you one that inspires you, right? Is your unconscious story of you one that inspires you? Most people never give this any consideration. Mark my words, you have an unconscious story of you. And that story of you is not who you are. It isn't. But it either inspires you or it bums you out, or somewhere in between, right? So I'm a big believer in, well, look, we've got this unconscious story of us. It's not who we are. It is a kind of fiction. It's always a fiction. So why don't we make that fiction up to be as inspiring as possible? So the question is, who would I love to be? Who's me at my best? So when I was a kid, I used to watch, I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark 26, 27 times in a row when I was a kid, because it was the first thing I ever got on VHS. We got a VHS player, and I'm like, I've got this tape, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm going to watch it over and over and over. And there's this Indiana Jones dude on there, and I'm like, wow, this guy goes places and makes things happen and kicks the bad guys' asses and all this kind of stuff. I was inspired by Indiana Jones. I was a kid at the time, you know, so I was 8 years old or something. I don't know, probably 8 years old, maybe 10, maybe 10. And I'd go out and I'd put my hat on, my Indiana Jones hat. I didn't have a whip, so I had a piece of rope that was kind of like one. I had it coiled up on my belt, and God, I felt it. I was inspired by being Indiana Jones. Now, like, we learn not to do this, don't we? We learn to be serious and be realistic. There's that realistic word again. So we end up with this realistic story of who we are. Well, I'm not really Indiana Jones. I'm just like, I'm actually just that kid that everybody takes the out of at lunchtime or whatever, and get some crap story, and it doesn't inspire. Sometimes when I'm coaching business people, they've encountered the idea of an elevator pitch. I say, what's an elevator pitch? They go, I go, well, if you think about it, it's a little story about you that you can deliver in 30 seconds, and the intention is to inspire the person you're in the elevator with, who might buy into you. And they go, oh yeah, I guess so. I say, but does it inspire you? Truth is, if you inspire yourself first, you show up in the world in this kind of more inspired ground of being, and that's kind of useful, right? So who are you? What's the narrative of you that you're going to make up? So often, if I'm setting goals in life, I want them to be congruent with the story of me that inspires me, that I'm choosing to author. On my website, on my jamestripp.co.uk website, it says, James Tripp, coaching creators and difference makers. Being a creator, being a difference maker, being somebody who is able to affect change in the world, to co-create with what comes up, these things, this floats my boat. It excites me. I like it. It's like being Indiana Jones to me. Look, what does my t-shirt say? It says shamanic on my t-shirt. Shamanic. Somebody bought me this t-shirt because they know that I once had a personal story that I am the street shaman. Right? That was a story I had about me back when I was doing mentalism, magic, close-up stuff like this. I was the street shaman. That was a story that inspired me. So I wanted to make sure my goals were in alignment with that story. So going back to my book, the fact that I did it, I realized the book, So being a realizer, one who makes things real, one who takes the ideas in my mind and brings them out into the world, that's part of my story of me that inspires me. It's part of what I choose to live into. Okay. So if your goals, that your long-term goals are aligned with your personal story and who you're, the story you're choosing to live into, and on the pathway to that goal, you are making progress, you're on a winner. You will stay inspired. You will stay motivated, providing you always remember the connection with the story, with the why. So a good goal, I said, long-term goals, they want to serve you now. When you connect with the goal, you should, and this is a good should, not a shouldy should, right? This is a good should. They do exist. They're few and far between. You should feel this sense of like, yeah, this rocks. This is a thing I'm on board for, right? If the goal is like, then it needs reorganizing, right? So you want to get this kind of like, yeah, this is good. This is a good thing. Now, I call this vision, by the way, like more than goal, because like the interesting thing, people talk about vision. This person's got no vision, or it's like got broad vision or whatever. Vision to me is an interesting metaphor because it's visual, right? Vision. But for me, vision, the stuff that inspires me, is actually more felt than a thing that I see for me. So I want to feel it. I want to feel every cell of my being going, this one's tasty. This will be cool. And if it's not feeling like that, something needs to get adjusted. And it could be external or it could be internal, but something's got to be adjusted.
So what do you make of that idea, particularly the idea that you have a story you live from and you live into? And this story is not you, but it does something for you. It creates you, it creates your engagement with the world, it creates your whole attitude and outlook. What if you could get into that story? What if you could develop the skill, the capacity, the capability to recreate that story from the inside out? So if you're interested in this kind of thing, we're in the last 24 hours now of the launch week offer. There's over 50% off, can't remember the exact percentage. You can get the info on the link. And this is for 1 year. You're going to be with some incredible transformative individuals, some incredible generative minds. If you're interested in creating the life that you want, you might be interested in the Nexus. Aside from that, whether you're interested in the Nexus or not, if this video sparked a thought or an idea in you, please do give it the thumbs up. And if you're interested in more on using your mind to shape your life, then hit subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Any questions about any of this, very, very happy to engage with you in the comments section. So until we next connect, keep on using your mind to shape your life.